The best marketing doesn't make an ordinary home look extraordinary. It helps buyers recognize the value that was already there. And the best agents don't invest in marketing because it's expensive. They invest because they understand something that many others don't. Every listing is an opportunity to build trust, strengthen a brand, and an opportunity to create a future client. Harvard professor Gerald Zaltman has spent decades studying consumer behavior. One of his most widely cited ideas is that people make the vast majority of purchasing decisions subconsciously before they ever begin consciously explaining them. When buyers open Zillow, they're not sitting there making spreadsheets. They're reacting. Within seconds, they're asking themselves questions like, does this home look well cared for? Does this feel clean? Or most importantly, can I picture myself here? Those questions happen before they ever look at square footage, compare taxes, and before they read your property description. Emotion comes first, logic catches up later. Have you ever been scrolling through Zillow and found yourself stopping on one listing? Maybe it wasn't the biggest house, maybe it wasn't even the most expensive, but something about it made you stop. It felt different. It felt like a luxury listing. Now, here's the interesting part. That feeling often has very little to do with the actual price of the home. It has everything to do with how the home was presented. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because one of the biggest misconceptions in real estate is that marketing is simply about documenting a property. Take 25 photos, shoot a video, upload everything to the MLS, and you're done. But that's not marketing. That's documentation. Marketing is something entirely different. Marketing influences perception, and perception influences value. Rory Sutherland, vice chairman of one of the largest advertising agencies in the world, said, "The opposite of a good idea can also be a good idea." What he means is that we often become obsessed with improving the product while ignoring something equally important: how people experience the product. Think about bottled water. You can buy a bottle of water for like $2, or you can buy another bottle of water for $6. It's still water. So why do people pay 3 times more? Because brands like Fiji, Voss, and Evian don't sell water. They sell perception. Perception, lifestyle, emotion, and status. Real estate works exactly the same way. The house doesn't change, the experience changes. Now, before anyone says, well, buyers should only care about the facts. I agree. Eventually they do. Eventually they'll inspect the roof and review the disclosures. They'll compare school districts and you'll negotiate repairs. But none of those things matter if they never schedule the showing. Marketing's job isn't to close the sale. Marketing's job is to earn the opportunity, and that is a huge distinction. One thing luxury brands understand exceptionally well is consistency. Think about Apple. Every commercial, every product box, everything looks intentional. Mercedes, Rolex, Grey Goose, all do the same thing. None of these companies became premium brands because they had one beautiful advertisement. They became premium because every customer interaction reinforced the same message. That was professional, thoughtful, and intentional. That's exactly how sellers evaluate agents. They don't just see one listing. They see patterns. If every listing you market looks polished, they assume your business is polished. If every listing feels elevated, they assume you'll elevate theirs too. Consistency helps create that trust. Let's talk about 3 ways marketing changes perceived value. First, photography. Good photography isn't about making rooms look bigger. It's about removing distractions, straight vertical lines, balanced lighting, and clean compositions. Those things aren't flashy, but together they create a feeling of professionalism. Poor photography creates friction. Professional photography creates confidence. Second, editorial imagery. This is one of my favorite services because it's often misunderstood. Wide room photos tell buyers what a room looks like. Editorial photos tell buyers what life feels like inside that room. A coffee cup sitting beside a reading chair. Beautiful afternoon light coming through a window. The texture of a custom stone fireplace. Those photographs don't replace MLS documentation, they create aspiration. Luxury brands have understood this forever. People don't buy products, they buy lifestyles. Homes are no different. Third, motion. This is where video becomes incredibly powerful. Video isn't valuable because it shows more rooms. Photos already show every room. Video creates emotion. There's music and movement. It gives you the feeling of walking through a home. That's why luxury real estate around the world invests heavily in cinematic video. Not because buyers can't understand the floor plan, because emotion creates memorability, and memorability creates action. According to Zillow's Consumer Housing Trends Research, buyers spend significant time looking through listing photos and media before deciding whether to visit a property. I mean, duh. Think about what that means. Your marketing is no longer supporting the sales process. In many cases, it is the sales process. Your marketing has already begun shaping expectations. Now let's talk about ROI, because I know what some agents are thinking. This all sounds great, but does it actually make financial sense? I think that's the wrong way to measure it. Suppose you invest an extra few $100s into marketing a listing. Could that investment help the home sell? Maybe. Could it generate more online engagement? Possibly. But here's the question I think matters even more. What happens if that presentation convinces one future seller to call you? Or if a neighbor watches your listing video and says, I want my house marketed like that. Now, the investment isn't tied to one listing. It's tied to your reputation. The most valuable piece of marketing you'll ever produce isn't the one that sells today's home. It's the one that earns tomorrow's listing. One of my favorite books is The Experience Economy by B. Joseph Pine II and James Gilmore. Their entire premise is that people increasingly pay for experiences, not commodities. I think that's exactly where our industry is heading. Photography has become a commodity. Marketing is becoming an experience. That's why the conversation shouldn't be how many photos. It should be what story are we trying to tell? Because stories are remembered. Experiences and emotions are remembered. 25 MLS photos? Nobody remembers those. So how should this change the way you market listings? First, stop asking, what does this package include? Start asking, what experience does this create? Second, think beyond the current transaction. Every listing becomes a case study for future clients. Your portfolio isn't just showing homes, it's showing your standards. Third, don't think about marketing as an expense attached to one address. Think about it as an investment in your reputation, because your reputation is what earns referrals. It's what earns repeat business. It's what allows you to raise your commission with confidence. It's what separates you from the dozens of agents competing for the same listing appointment. I'll leave you with this thought. The best marketing doesn't make an ordinary home look extraordinary. It helps buyers recognize the value that was already there. And the best agents don't invest in marketing because it's expensive. They invest because they understand something that many others don't. Every listing is an opportunity to build trust, strengthen a brand, and an opportunity to create a future client. The house may only be on the market for a few weeks, but the impression your marketing leaves behind can influence your business for years. That's why the question isn't, how little can I spend on marketing? The better question is, what kind of impression do I want my business to leave, every single time someone sees one of my listings. Because in the end, people may remember the house, but they're far more likely to remember the agent who made it impossible to ignore.